All right, so as we read from the 502 timestamp, we're going to be looking at two different things today. Indirect characterization and direct characterization. So can someone tell me what indirect characterization means? Indirect. Sydney?
When the author gives clues.
When the author is giving you clues to describe a person based on, what clues are we looking for? What clues do we use? Their actions, dialogue,
Reactions.
okay, thoughts and reactions, how other people react to them. All right, and then the second one is direct characterization. So this is describing a character directly, and this is clues that the narrator or author is giving us, right? Okay. So let's start at timestamp 5:02 p.m. on page 28. I'll read and you follow along. I might pause for you to fill in a word as we go through the text. Chase followed Nicole onto the screened porch of the Rossi's old farmhouse. He looked at the sofas and chairs scattered about and wondered what it would be like to sit there in the evening listening to the lion tamers, clowns, acrobats, and little people talking about their day. To get through the front door, they had to move several boxes of framed newspaper articles, photos, and other circus memorabilia to the side. Where's she moving this stuff? We have a waterproof storage container out back by the pool. Nicole led the way into a large kitchen where the counters, cupboards, and appliances were at least 2 feet lower than they would normally be. Why are they 2 feet lower?
Because they need to have
They're little people, yes. Mama Rossi, gray-haired and a bit shorter than her son, stood at the sink peeling sweet potatoes. Sitting next to the sink was a small green monkey wearing a diaper. He was holding a potato peel in one hand and scratching his leg with the other. Mama Rossi turned around and gave them a bright smile. What does that say about her?
She's a warm.
She put her hand out. This must be Chase Masters. Welcome to our home. Thank you. Chase took her hand. Mama Rossi stared at him with dark eyes, and her smile faded. I'm so sorry about your mother and sister. Chase froze. What are you talking about? Nicole asked. Mama Rossi gripped Chase's hand more tightly. A car accident on a mountain. I'm sure it hasn't been easy for you or your father. Thomas must have told Arturo, Chase thought. But looking into Mama Rossi's dark eyes, he had an eerie feeling. That wasn't how she knew. All right, there's a lot of dialogue between Mama Rossi and Chase and Nicole. What does it tell us about her? What type of character is she? Okay, Hagen says she's nice. How do you know that? What's a phrase or something she said? Right?
Sorry that your mom and your sister.
Yep, she apologized when she heard about the mom and the sister passing.
She said welcome to our home. She knows that she's spreading her own chasing around like why are you here?
Yep, she was welcoming to them, so that means that she was obviously demonstrated a warmth about her. All right, so 2 years earlier, it had rained every day, and Chase had been at Boy Scout camp, and it was still raining. He was standing in the parking lot with his troop leader, Mr. Murphy, all morning. One by one, parents had been picking up their drenched scouts. Now it was just Chase and Mr. Murphy. Has anyone ever been the last one to be picked up?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your feeling? Can you relate with Chase here? He's at camp and he's the last one.
Probably bored.
Mr. Murphy looked at his watch for the 100th time. How many times? Are you sure your parents were clear on when and where to pick you up? Yes, sir, like I told you. I talked to them last night. Mom said they were driving up with my little sister. On the way home, we're going to stop at our cabin and pick up a load of firewood for the house. Wait, so he looked at his watch the 100th time. What does that tell you if he keeps looking at his watch?
He's nervous. He's nervous.
It's the counselor.
Oh, he keeps maybe he's concerned.
Okay, so maybe if you look at your watch a lot, you're concerned, okay? So maybe they stopped at the cabin first. I don't think so. Dad wouldn't have a haul of truckload of wood all the way up here and then drive it back down the mountain. You're probably right. Do you have a phone at your cabin? No. Mr. Murphy pulled his cell out and called Chase's house and his parents' cell again. All 3 calls went to voicemail. So when you keep calling someone and they don't answer, what do you think?
Something bad.
Chase was starting to feel sick. His parents were never late for anything. We can't stand here all day waiting. Mr. Murphy said, how about if I leave a note for them here and voicemails on their phones saying I've taken you to my house? Okay. Chase tossed his soggy gear into the sack of Mr. Murphy's SUV. After halfway down the mountain, they ran into a terrible traffic jam. Chase was worried about his parents not showing up, that he barely noticed the line of cars stretching ahead of them until they reached the end of it. On the opposite side of the highway, at least a half dozen police cars with flashing lights clustered on the shoulder. What's happening? A crash. A tow truck was winching a blue SUV out of the ditch. That's my parents' car, Chase shouted. Are you still a Boy Scout? Mama Rossi asked. What? Chase pulled his head away from Mama Rossi quickly. Are you okay? Nicole asked. Yeah, I asked if you were a Boy Scout, Mama Rossi repeated. No, we've been traveling, he said. Helping people, Mama Rossi said. Chase nodded, but he knew that it wasn't exactly true. So the part that was written in italics, why did the author do that?
It was flashing back to.
Okay, it was a flashback. So at the moment, John Masters and Thomas were trolling separate parts of St. Petersburg. John was driving through the business district. Thomas was driving through the wealthier residential area. If a business or homeowner, never a contractor, was making preparations for the storm, they'd stop, introduce themselves, and then offer to give them a hand. For free. Thomas's poor English was not a hindrance. His skilled hands transcended all language barriers. Both men knew precisely how to prepare a home or business for disaster. They were fast and efficient. They knew that if the wind was strong enough, no preparation was going to save an expensive building or home from damage. The grateful owner usually tried to pay for their time, but they refused. Instead, they handed over a couple of empty emergency service business cards and told the owners to call if they had any problems. If the winds were strong enough and the water high enough, they would have all the problems, and they would call. But the second round of repairs wouldn't be free. All right, so what does this tell you about his dad's business? Okay, that they are going into dangerous areas. Is it good business? Do you think he's running a good business? Well, what kind of person is his dad?
Well, he's a good person.
Okay, so Sopnik says he's a good person. Is he charging people the first time? No. I want you to put yourself in their situation. If you are helping someone in a time of need, and they maybe can't afford, right, to have hired help to get them ready for a storm. And he says, the only thing I ask of you is I'm going to give you a business card. So if you do have damage, is that a good business practice? Okay, why? Why do you think that's a smart idea? Okay, Mason, say that again.
More people would come to your thing and call you more.
Okay, so maybe more people would call you because you helped them the first time around. Estelle?
Maybe they're not so worried if they do get in a crash because they know who they're calling that they'll help them.
Okay, so they know they can count on somebody. They have at least one person to count on. All right, 5:07 p.m. Everybody switch to the next page for the next timestamp. Nicole picked up a paring knife from the counter. I suppose you want some help peeling potatoes, sweet potatoes. Since they're your sweet potatoes, Mama Rossi said, you're darned right, I want to help. And what about your laps? She put her hands on her hips and tried to look mad, but there was a sparkle in her eye. You did about half of them like you were supposed to. I did enough. The meet is in 3 days. I don't want to wear myself out before the competition. I was feeding Gertrude and the cats, so Dad didn't have to. All right, Mama Rossi said, because we have a guest and because we have a lot to do, I'll let it go this time. Scoot, peel thief, Nicole said. Poco grabbed another potato peel, climbed to the top of the refrigerator, and glared at her. Make yourself at home, Mama Rossi said to Chase. This could take a while. Nicole is a fast swimmer, but a very slow potato peeler. You're funny, Mama. I can move those boxes if you want, Chase offered. That would be nice, Mama Rossi said, but it might not be as easy as you think. For one thing, I'm not certain there's room in the container. Marco and Nicole haven't done a very good job of packing. The boxes needed to be reorganized and no problem. After a year of the shack and shop duty, Chase was an expert organizer. Now, based off that sentence, he's an expert organizer. Is that direct or indirect characterization of who he is? Yeah, he is good at organizing things. He probably likes order, routine. Is he helpful?
Yes.
He's offered it. Those are all direct characterizations, right? No problem. After a year of the shack and shop duty, Chase was an expert organizer. Nicole put the knife down. Since you're blaming me for the mess, maybe I better give him a hand. I think Chase is more than capable of hauling and organizing boxes on his own, and I need you to make the sweet potato pie, unless you'd prefer for Chase to eat my version. Nicole laughed. I guess that wouldn't be polite to our guest. Mama Rossi snapped a towel at her playfully. I'm not exactly your guest, Chase said. It wasn't a rule, but they didn't usually hang out with the people who own the property they parked on. They have everything we need in the fifth wheel. You don't need to feed me. Nonsense, Mama Rossi said. I don't know how to cook for less than a dozen people. With you, there are only 4 of us tonight. I wouldn't argue with Mama Rossi, Nicole said. Dad tried to talk her out of getting the container. Guess who won? He'll be happy our things are safe. Do you like sweet potato pie, Chase? I like pie and I like sweet potatoes, but I've never had them together. You haven't lived until you've eaten Nicole's sweet potato pie. Chase carried 2 boxes past a large modern pool, which did not fit with the 2-story farmhouse. The Rossis must have put it in long after the house was built, for Nicole to swim laps. The container, which was nothing more than a steel box welded to a trailer, was on the opposite side of the pool. He opened the door and the storage carton fell out. There was plenty of room inside the container, but it looked like it had been organized by Poco. The only way to fix it was to take everything out and start all over again. What does that tell you about Chase? Does he do things the easy way or the hard way?
The hard way.
So that is a indirect or direct characterization? Indirect, yeah. Because they're not telling you he's a hard worker. That's what you guys are putting together from what the author's telling us, that he's going to start over again. He's offering to organize it, and he's not complaining either. Chase looked up at the sky, and the clouds were moving in from the gulf. He jogged down to the shop, imitating Thomas's perpetual state of emergency, which is exactly what Chase would be if he started to rain after he pulled everything out. He grabbed a couple of tarps, a hammer, and a handful of metal stakes. Since they'd been on the road, his father had taken to the Boy Scout motto to what? To a new level. Every job, no matter how small, needed to be thought through before it was started from the beginning to end, with particular attention paid to what might go wrong in between. Chase staked out a ground tarp so it wouldn't blow away, then staged a second tarp to pull over the boxes in case it started to rain. When he neglected to anticipate, in between was the curiosity about the Rossi family and their circus. It almost in every box he found something he had to look at or read. I do think he's curious. Why is he stopping to look in every box? Well, he's organizing, but why does he stop and look?
Curious?
He's curious, yeah. So that's an indirect characterization too. He's curious. He wants to know about their family and about their circus maybe and kind of their history. There was a stack of photo albums filled with pictures at the top, big top, circus acts, animals, and people. Nicole's mom was a little person like Mama Rossi and Marco. Others in the family were regular size like Nicole. But in every photo, they were smiling, laughing as if there wasn't an inch of difference between them. Marco walked up to Chase and was staring at a painting of a man holding a whip, dressed in a red coat, white pants, knee-high black boots, and a black top hat. All right, so we know that Chase is curious just based on him wanting to stop, right, and look at, what's he looking at? Yeah, he's looking at everything in the boxes.